The Mercury Star Runner. The Mercury Star Runner. We are finally here. Now, before I get into this video, I have to say that the footage that you're going to see is me exploring the ship for the first time. At the point of recording this video, I have not watched anyone else's YouTube videos. I have not watched anyone else's streams. I have no idea how the interior of this ship really works. The only shots I've seen of the interior are the pictures that CIG posted roughly about a month and a half ago. So that's the only clue I have as to how the interior works. And so what you're going to be seeing in the background is me kind of exploring the ship and figuring out what are doors and what aren't doors. Overall, if you just want my quick take so you can just watch the first few minutes of this video and then get out. Overall, is this Star Citizen's Millennium Falcon? Yes, it is. It's fast. It handles beautifully. It carries about a fifth of the cargo of the Caterpillar, but depending on the value of the cargo versus the volume that it takes up, it has a lot of money-making potential. In fact, I had so much fun flying this ship that I would say that I would probably, if I could finagle it somehow, I could consider being talked into setting the Caterpillar aside for this ship. Because the Caterpillar never really fulfilled the idea of the pirate raid commander. Arguably, that role was kind of taken up by the Corsair. And so, honestly, as a competitor to the Caterpillar, yeah, in terms of volume, the Caterpillar carries more, but this, I could easily see this becoming my daily driver in Star Citizen. Up until the release of the Corsair, that is. This thing is absolutely fantastic, and there are so many things to rave about. You know, some people go like, hey, I love your rant videos. This is definitely not going to be a rant video. There's going to be a couple of quibbles, but we'll get to that later. But overall, my hot take on this ship, so to say, is it's a fantastic ship. Absolutely fantastic. And one of the first great features of it is the cockpit. Look at this. It's unique. It has downward visibility. It has visibility all around you. There's not all these stupid struts sticking in your face, blocking your view. Remember that this is a space game. This isn't, Chris Roberts' best damn cockpit simulator ever. This is the best damn space simulator. So it's great that we can see space and we don't have all this light in the cockpit spoiling our vision, making it so that you have, like, if you're landing on a dark planet, you pretty much have to use external view to see any real detail on the ground that you're approaching. This ship totally defeats all of these crazy notions about how a cockpit should be. This is the ideal. This is the gold standard in Star Citizen for cockpit design. The engines are a little bit odd, I'll grant you. I feel like those main engine pods should have been placed at the, in the wings, but that's a design quibble. It looks a little weird to me. The rear end of the ship looks a little weird, like where you see those little singular jets coming out of the rear. That's where I feel that the main engines should have been. It looks a little off balance, kind of like an ass with only one ass cheek. It's just like what. It just looks like a bit of a bizarre choice, but overall, the exterior of the ship looks great. It's the base paint job, and of course, other paint jobs are going to become available in the future. It's a little bit bland, a little bit boring, but who knows, with some wear and tear, it could give this ship a lot of personality. I really dig it. I really, really love this ship. I think that this is kind of one of these later generation ships that takes into account so many of the things that the other ships didn't, that just makes it great. Now, the interior, one thing you'll notice, Hammerhead, take note, plenty of weapon storage, and we're also going to go to the crew quarters, and we're going to see that. And there's more weapon storage just beyond these doors, and equipment storage in the crew quarters, along with storage shelves where conceivably you could put food or medipacks. There's more weapon storage. So fantastic. The interior is really great. The one quibble I have with the interior is that it's a little bit doorsy. There's a lot of doors that you have to travel through to get around in the ship. And they do serve like a real purpose in terms of, decompression. You can close them, but I would love to have an option where I can select certain doors and just pin them open and just say only close if there's a decompression. Now, this is the crew quarters. It does feel that it's short one bed because there's 3 beds there, but if you think 2 gunners and then a pilot and a co-pilot being generally what you would kind of aim for in terms of occupancy, it feels like we're short a bed. But with people rotating in and out or logging on or logging off from your ship, if there are other people, might not be that much of an issue, and the NPCs might not complain. So the loss of the captain's cabin and this are kind of odd, but at the same time, I kind of understand the choice. My biggest thing really with the interior, my biggest quibble was really just the doors. Just constantly having to wait for all these doors to get around through the ship. It really it breaks up the flow of the ship. I understand why they're there, but I would just like to have the option to just say always open unless there's a decompression and then close, or like a security close all the doors button. Something like that would be ideal. But apart from that, it really does kind of fulfill that Millennium Falcon feel while still being unique unto itself, That's great. You could put another bed, by the way, right back there, or maybe some added, gun racks or armor storage racks. That would be kind of decent. The scanning area, cool, well done. It does feel like it's missing a panel. But then again, I guess maybe this is all going to be dealt with in like holographic menus that you're kind of moving around and manipulating Minority Report style. So that might be a thing with this ship in the future once, in-depth scanning actually makes it into the game. Yeah, the doors. The doors really started to annoy me. Now, one of the funny things is I was looking for the crawl space because, once again, I haven't watched anybody's videos dealing with the crawl space underneath the ship. So I was really kind of digging around to try and figure out how you get in and out of the crawl space, which is kind of a good thing if someone's a stranger to the ship and they're trying to figure out where that is. The fact that it's not evident and there aren't just like these huge flashing lights say, get into the secret crawl space here. And I almost figured it out there, but not quite. Is a good thing. That is a good choice. This is really the only door I think that you would need to have closed all the time, is the one that leads to the cargo bay. Because as far as I've seen, I may have missed a door, but this is the only point of entry and egress, which is okay. The engineering space does feel a little bit dead compared to other spaces, like things like the Hammerhead and whatnot. I felt like there probably could have been more down here, but I don't know. We'll wait and see. I only found one panel really in my quick kind of run through that seemed to open up, but apart from that, I mean, these little risers that are directly behind my character, those might open up. But yeah, I mean, I get it. The crawl space, when I did eventually find it, was pretty cool. As like a place to kind of access various systems, various ship systems and stuff like that, probably not. I guess, in retrospect, I certainly made the argument that is CIG now going to have to start thinking about implementing this on more ships? Potentially, but I guess a fair argument could be made that it already, that space in a lot of these other ships would be used up with cable trunking or piping or ventilation, and maybe that ventilation isn't big enough to accommodate a human. There seems to be about 4 distinct entry points to this, so it would allow you to kind of get behind somebody who is kind of like sneaking onto your ship or, shooting up your ship. And the added, like this little cargo space here where you store your smuggled cargo, this distinct little cargo area, I was not anticipating it looking as finished as it did. I figured it was going to look more like the rest of the interior in, like this. So adding that little finishing touch there, not exactly sure that was necessary, but it does look kind of cool. And it would be kind of like a cool place to stow away in someone else's ship. You know, maybe there is just one added bed that you don't know about on your ship. So that was pretty cool. Does every ship need this? No. I mean, I could see that it could be a fairly unique design choice now. Like I can accept that. But as something that unique that exists only on this ship, it is a kind of a cool feature. I dig it. I really, really do. The exterior, kind of coming back to that, because you see it a little bit better here, but yeah, those two spaces kind of underneath those fairings, just at the base and the back of the wings, I kind of feel like that's where the main engines should have been. I mean, I guess maybe those are like engine exhausts, but yeah, the engines look a little bit weird the way that they're sitting where they are. It really, really does look bizarre. But the placement of the turrets, I think, is ideal. The top turret sits high. It's got downward angles from just about all directions. So it's got an excellent field of fire. The bottom turret is still got a pretty solid field of fire. So that is 2 thumbs up there on the exterior. I can't wait to see what paint jobs become available in-game for UEC for this ship in the future. But yeah, overall, the exterior was pretty damn solid. And I do like the fact that they did up the weaponry. I'm kind of digging that now. All size 3 guns with all that server room space, potential to server blade and pilot control up to 6 size 3s. Kind of formidable. I like that. As a cargo runner, as a smuggler, a little added firepower, I'm not against. The firepower previously was definitely not a deal breaker for me, but having it kind of ramped up, I'm not going to complain. I'm definitely not going to complain. Now, we come back to the cockpit here, because certainly you can see the downward visibility. This really is the gold standard. This is the crowning achievement of this ship, in my opinion, because it is distinct, it is unique. You can tell it's a different type of ship from a different type of manufacturer, and yet it doesn't, there's no struts, there's no oppressive interior lighting that's making all these fake reflections on the inside of the glass, which, by the way, don't even reflect the player, because you can't see yourself moving inside of the cockpit in the reflection. It's a lot like a lot of the reflections in Star Citizen. They're actually artificially generated. You go to a mirror in a bathroom and you can't see yourself in it. And to kind of remove all that, that over design and that overreaching in terms of artistic realization in order to just create something that's practical and works, that's kind of stepping beyond being just an artist, but thinking like an engineer and how this thing is actually supposed to work, and not just trying to make it look as cool as possible, but to make it as functional as possible. And that really is kind of what makes this ship so great. Another thing that makes it really great is just the handling of it. The flight characteristics of this ship are ideal for the ship that it is supposed to be. I mean, I'm picking up a load of booze, which I'm going to take into Grim Hex, and flying this thing felt like a dream. It really, really did. I could see an argument for replacing a Cutlass with this ship if you are so inclined. This definitely represents a step up from the Cutlass in many regards. Firepower wise, it depends on how you can configure it, but overall, I really could see this becoming my daily driver in Star Citizen. I really do love the way this ship handles, the way it, just the way it moves, its speed, everything. It goes up over 1,200 meters a second at full afterburn, which is a lot for a ship like this, considering how small its engines are. But I can't get off those engines. That and these interior doors. I would love to just have a little switch here that just says, just open only in case of explosive decompression, because the way the interior is, how it's so doorsy, this is really the only door that you really need on the interior to be closed at all times, is the cargo bay door and the engineering door, obviously, but because this really is the only point in and out of the ship, unless I'm totally missing one. And as you're kind of moving around in the interior, it's kind of a problem with some ships more than others, but constantly having to stop and wait for a door, stop and wait for a door, stop and wait for a door. I would love to see, as we kind of move forward in Star Citizen, I understand why all the doors are there, but I would love to see us have an ability to toggle certain doors so that they're just always open unless there's like they have to seal a decompression. Something I would like to see in the future. Obviously not something that, is really a major concern right now, but as we kind of dial things in, I would love to see that. Another thing hopefully that we kind of get in the future is the differentiation between just the ordinary cargo bay and the smuggling cargo bay. Unless we really are meant to carry little crates of smuggled goods down there. I didn't experiment with that yet, but even with the minimal cargo bay that we do have, which, compared to some ships is actually quite large. It's about a fifth of the Caterpillar, roughly. Depending on the volume, I think, is enough to certainly justify operating this ship as a cargo hauler. Like I said, I could consider setting aside the Caterpillar for this, simply because of the way it would allow me to kind of get into more difficult landing areas much easier than this is, and certainly the ability to get in and out of a place very, very quickly. I think that this could actually be a damn good starship, and this, I really think, is going to be a dominant platform in the future of Star Citizen. You're going to see a lot of people picking this ship up and going like, that's the ship that I want. I think that this ship and the Corsair are probably going to be, like, in terms of ships in Star Citizen, these are going to become the gold standards. In terms of livability, in terms of usability and earning capability and all of that, I think that really in the future that those are two ships that are ideally placed. And so I think that money spent on either one of these is not money misspent at all. There are minor quibbles here and there, yes. But overall, when you think about the handling, the ability to get in and out of a place very quickly, the speed of this ship, it's just perfect. It really, really is. It's not perfect, but it's as close to perfect as you can reasonably get. The only thing that I would say is a downside to this ship is the fact that, once again, when you look at a ship like this, you start to realize what all the other ships don't have and how all the other ships come up short. And so it kind of really brings that into sharp focus, just how far other ships really have to go to kind of get to the level that's something that the Mercury Star Runner is at. I think the Mercury Star Runner kind of hails a better era of Star Citizen in the future, with many of the ships that we have yet to see taking on more of these kind of core ideas, though not the aesthetics. I think that it speaks well for a lot of the criticism that we've kind of given ships over the years, that these things are now kind of being made manifest in changes in these newer ships that is making them so much better. At the same time, when I'm looking at this, I'm also thinking this is the death of the Constellation. Like, this ship is the death of the Constellation right here. I mean, there is no reason to own a Connie over this ship. No legitimate practical reason. It handles beautifully. It flies like a dream. It does everything that the Connie would really need to do, and a little bit more. It's just ideal. It's just absolutely ideal. And the fact that we got those little MFDs off to the side there, like, we don't just have to put all the MFDs right in front of the player. We can make them look around for them and just kind of keep the core cockpit area clean. Brilliant. absolutely brilliant. So I would say as close to 10 out of 10 as you could possibly get. And certainly if you're talking about taking it into places like Grim Hex, the speed, the handling, the ability to get in and get out quickly, all the things that a smuggler would want, all the things that a smuggler would dream of, as close to perfect as it can be. That is my rave review for the Mercury Star Runner, as close to perfect as it could be. There are minor quibbles here and there, but the core of what the ship is supposed to be, the core of what the ship is supposed to deliver, the experience that it is supposed to deliver in Star Citizen, it's all here. All those core boxes are ticked, and ticked with authority. This is absolutely, in my opinion, perfect, or as close to perfect as you can get.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.